God saved these people, led them out of slavery and oppression, led them and guided them in the wilderness, provided for them, and the glory they gave was to a golden calf that was made from human hands. So that was just the first story that popped to my mind going over idolatry. But ultimately, what is idolatry? Idolatry is loving the created things, right, more than the creator, right? It's a horizontal love. It's not a vertical love. It's not from creature loving creator. It's creature loving the created things, ultimately. Friends, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, cars, houses, money. Taking these good things and elevating them, loving them more than the creator, right? But the problem with that, what I found was, love is an attribute of God, right? Therefore, without God, this has no meaningful love and no meaning. I mean, this doesn't exist without God, right? So it got very interesting for me because you have two individuals. You have a believer and a non-believer. What do they have in common? Well, they both know that God exists, because without God, this doesn't exist. So they both know that God exists, but where the difference is, where the split is one who starts here with the love, right? They know that God exists. It's not a salvific knowledge of God. It's not a saved knowledge that the believer possesses, but it's a sufficient knowledge. It's a good enough knowledge because God has made it plain to all his creatures, right? Through his invisible attributes and his divine nature has been perceived through his creation. So we are without an excuse. So they know that God exists, but they are holding God's knowledge down, suppressing the truth in unrighteousness, right? While the other individual went from suppressing God's truth in unrighteousness and by pure grace now professes God's truth, right? I mean, this Romans 1, this is my favorite chapter in the entire Bible. Listen to the language that Paul uses right here. Romans 1, 21 and 25. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him. But they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served the creature rather than the creator. Right? So I just want to bring it home with this. King Solomon, what did he have? Right? He had gold, silver, concubines. He built houses and irrigation systems and fruit trees, and he built parks and gardens for himself, right? Whatever his eyes desired, he did not keep from them. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. But what was his final conclusion? After he looked upon everything that he possessed and everything that he built with his hands, he uses one word: vanity. I looked up the definition of vanity. Vanity, by definition, something that is worthless or pointless. So I just want to conclude it with the words of Christ in Matthew chapter 10. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Why? Because I need disciples. I need people who are willing to make me their ultimate desire. Join me, take up this cross, and join me in this humiliating, painful death march, right? To die to yourself, to die to your old life so you can have life abundantly, and that's only found in Christ. But ultimately, without a loving, sovereign creator, Christ, without a meaningful creator, all of this, without Christ, is vanity.
Amen.
Amen.
You guys ever have trouble with idols? There's a famous theologian who once said, human heart is an idol. true. I was cleaning my